In the three cases, Roper v. Simmons, Gregg v. Georgia, and Ingram v. Wright, they all raise questions of the Eighth Amendment. The Eighth Amendment states, excessive bail shall not be required, nor excessive fines imposed, nor cruel and unusual punishments inflicted. These three cases focus on the cruel and unusual punishments aspect of the Eighth Amendment. In 1993, 17-year-old Christopher Simmons was sentenced to death because he kidnapped his neighbor Shirley Cook and tied her up and threw her off a bridge in St. Louis County. Then the Mississippi court thought executing a minor violated the Eighth Amendment. They thought this because a minor's brain isn't fully developed. So the question the court was trying to answer was, is killing a minor against the Eighth Amendment, and is it cruel and unusual punishment?
What? Come on, you're coming with me!
On March 31st, 1976, Troy Gray got accused of armed robbery and murder, in which the Georgia Supreme Court sentenced him to death. He then challenged this sentence, claiming that his sentence was cruel and unusual, which was a punishment of the Eighth Amendment. So the court tried to answer this question: is the imposition of a death sentence prohibited under the Eighth Amendment as cruel and unusual punishment?
Hi, welcome to the supermarket. How can I help
Hello.
you?
Good evening. On October 6, 1970, James Ingram was punished severely. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in a 5-4 vote that the schools punishing their children in such manner is not violating the Constitution. It was in 1971 when they ruled such, specifically the Eighth Amendment. The question trying to be answered by the Supreme Court was, is corporal punishment in public schools violating the Constitution?
Pick up your backpack, you're about to get spanked. Next, get over here. Come on, let's go. Let's get him next. Get over here.
I'm not gonna let you spank
What do you
me.
need? Get him.
Nah, you're
Get
getting
him.
spanked, bro. Let's go.
In the Roper v. Simmons case, it finally came to the conclusion that killing him would be considered cruel and unusual punishment by a 5-4 vote, but he was then sentenced to life in jail without parole. In the Gregg v. George case on July 2nd, 1976, it was decided in a 7-2 decision that the punishment of a death would not violate the Eighth Amendment. And lastly, in the Ingram v. Wright case, in a 5-4 decision, it was decided that the Eighth Amendment doesn't forbid cruel punishment in schools. This affects our society because all these cases give them a reason to either punish or not punish with a sentence of death or in schools. It then also gives them a reason to punish, and if they don't challenge it, then it gives them the right to either sentence them to a life in jail, kill them in the Gregg v. Georgia case, or don't even forbid corporal punishment in schools in the Ingram v. Wright case.